Okay, so I'm a little bit sick today, so you're gonna have to ignore how I look and sound. This is a video I've kind of wanted to do for a while, just haven't gotten the chance, so we're gonna do it today. We're gonna go buy every single nail polish I can find from the dollar store and mix them all together, because that sounds fucking fun as fuck, and it'll add a bunch of nail polish to my collection. This is the second time I'm filming it on public now, by myself at least, and I'm just as nervous about it as I was last time. Let's go hit up the dollar store. The thing about the dollar store is what they carry is so random. I might go to more than one, but I kind of don't want to because they're all gonna be random. Like, there's no really rhyme or reason to what they sell nail polish and like beauty supplies wise at the dollar store as far as I'm aware. So let's just go see what we can find, and I might go to one or two more, and if there's anything like really out there that I don't have from the other ones, I'll get. So it is now 30 minutes later, even though it was only supposed to be a 10-minute drive, and I remember why I fucking hate driving so much. But we're at the first store, so let's go see how much nail polish we can find. Alright, so we're finished at the first store. It's getting pretty dark, but I got quite a bit. I'm gonna go to one more store just to like see if I can pick up anything that's different. I also forgot to pick up something to mix them in, because I am definitely not mixing them in any of my stuff that I have at home. Whatever I'm mixing them in is gonna be thrown away by the end of the day. So let's hit maybe one more, and if they have like a really crazy wide variety of new things, then I might go to one more, but we'll see where we end up. Okay, we're at the second store. I don't know if I'm gonna go to a third one if I'm honest. So we'll see what's in this one. I'm probably not going to the last one, so I'll catch up with you guys later. It got very dark all of a sudden. I'm out of the store now. I don't think I'm gonna go to the last one. It was a little bit unfortunate that I did find quite a bit of polishes that were not at the other store. So while I am pretty sure I would find even more if I went to a third store, I'm still not gonna go. These two stores are technically in different cities, even though they're pretty close to each other, and they had the exact same brands, and most of the polish was the same. It was just a few stragglers here and there that I picked up at this store. Brand wise they were the same, and I did see mostly the same colors. Another reason I don't want to go to a third store is because I'm starting to get confused about which ones I've picked up and which ones I haven't. Since there are very popular colors in every brand, there's always going to be at least 3 different types of pink in every brand. So I'll be looking at a polish and I'll be like, do I already have this one, or do I have a very similar shade in a different brand? So I'm pretty sure I already got some doubles, and I don't want to just buy a bunch of polish that I already have gotten but don't remember getting. So we're just gonna stick with these two. I got a good amount from this second store, so I'm glad I at least went to another store instead of just calling it good at one. I got something to mix them in. I hope it works. I think it will, but I guess we'll see. So at this point I was sorting the bottles by shape, kind of assuming that all of the bottles that were the same shape were going to be the same brand. We're going to talk about later on in the video how that's not exactly true, but at this point I was just kind of trying to put things that looked similar in groups. While I was sorting, I found this like really nasty top coat. It was a different brand than everything else. It was completely dried. It was like really gross. This is some nail polish thinner that I added to it, and it said new on the top of the bottle, which I found really ironic because it was obviously very old. And here is our first pour. No exact measurements. I was just watching the flow and kind of timing how long it took for a certain amount of polish to come out of the bottles. Our first few were really slow, but there were a few of them that came out pretty fast. And now let's kick it into high gear. Okay, so my phone ran out of space, so I had to move some stuff around on my thing really quick. But while that was going, I went ahead and kept going. And look at these awesome looking layers. We're making pretty good progress. I've only run into 2 weird ones so far. This one was one of the ones that came in like a special hanging one. The cap keeps coming off like that. The second one, it's so fucking sheer. Basically tinted water. It's so like clear and see-through and watery. What? The shade name is literally see-through with C spelled like the ocean. I tried to look on the receipt. I tried to look on all the little like backings I pulled off of these. I think it's supposed to be nail polish. Like I don't think it's supposed to be anything else. It says nail color on the back, but it's so thin and so clear and so watery. I'm gonna add it because I can't find anything saying it's not nail polish. There were a few like nail essence, nail oils on that shelf, but this one specifically says nail color on the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and add it, even though it's so weird. We'll see what's up with it when we swatch it later. And then this one is the other weird one. It's basically completely dried out. At least it's still like a little bit existent. It looks like straight up concrete. I'm gonna throw some nail polish thinner in there and see if it makes a difference. It looks like it's not mixing very well so far, so we'll see how it goes. Alrighty, so I guess it's time to mix this up and see what color it makes. You can see a little bit of those little sparkles from that one ugly ass one that was like really gross, that topper. And for there weren't very many glittery polishes, but you can definitely see some kind of like little shimmers in here. Still pretty streaky. It's like a very purpley color, very shimmery for the very few shimmers that are in here. Alright, I think that's as close as we're gonna get with this guy. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this one drip for a little bit to see if any more of it will come out, but I think that's the end of it. That looks like all I'm gonna get out of these. Wish I had been able to shove that into one of these. In the meantime, it's like a weird purpley shade. It's kind of shimmery, surprisingly, even though there wasn't that many shimmer polishes in there. It's like a dusty purple, like a dusty plum purple. It's not the worst color in the world, but honestly not my favorite. I'm just glad it didn't turn out like brown and ugly. We're gonna swatch it and see what it looks like on a swatch stick, I guess. So this is the swatch that I did after it's dry. It is a little bit shimmery, and every now and then you can see that weird blue top coat thing in there, but it's mostly just like this very dusty berry purple, exactly as mid-toned as you would expect. It's not a bad color. I would definitely wear it. I would prefer it without the weird shimmers in it, but you know, that's not really an option. We'll talk about the percentages and everything here in a little bit when I finish filling them out. It's the next day, as you can tell by the state of me. So I very clearly just woke up. But ignoring that fact, I wanted to go ahead and do my outro for this video because I realized I forgot to do it yesterday. Also, I added all my swatches above my head, not that you can see it. Now you can see the swatches, but it's kind of a weird angle, whatever. So let's very quickly talk a little bit about the data that I found while doing this project. I legitimately love data so much. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. Don't ask me why. I'll make a spreadsheet about anything. Some interesting things to note right off the bat is I did in fact find a few colors with the exact same shade name. There were 2 different colors called Flamingo. One of them was kind of more orange and one of them was pink. And I had 2 different whites from the same company, but in 2 different finishes called White Out. 2 different color vibe polishes, so under the same company, were both called White Out. One of them was like a gel-like polish and one of them was just a regular polish. So this is a color vibe polish and this is also a color vibe polish. I'm pretty sure I found them at different stores, but they are both called called Whiteout. This one is considered a gel-like polish. As far as I'm aware, gel-like means nothing. It's just something to make you think it's a fancy gel type of polish. Gel polish needs to be cured under a UV lamp. These do not, so they are not gel polishes. It is simply a marketing tactic. We have two different flamingos. One of the flamingos was actually one of the ones that came in that like fancy ass packaging, so it's not actually written on the bottle. It was written on the packaging though. And this is the other flamingo. It's very, very orange. It's not pink at all. Speaking of the ones in the packaging, there were 11 out of the 74 that we had that came in that specialized packaging. 6 of them were the Candy Mondo ones that I just showed you. 3 of them were these weird Art Deco ones which have a super skinny brush that are very clearly only meant for nail art. The brush thing is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. The thing is you can just buy skinny brushes so you can use any polish you want in that way. So there's no need to buy a polish that specifically has a very skinny brush. There were 6 that came with these like glittery things, and those polishes themselves were in fact like kind of shimmery or iridescent or had glitter in it in some form or another. As for the brand breakdown, we had the most Color Vibe because there were the most different kinds of Color Vibes. Color Vibe came in a lot of different shapes and sizes. Originally when I sorted them out by like similar looking bottles, I assumed the bottles would all be the same brand. They were not. Color Vibe itself had a lot of different shapes of bottles. It accounted for 33% of all the polishes, so like a solid third of all of the polishes were just Color Vibe. Secondary, but still pretty close, was Candy Moyo, a brand I've never heard of before. I've never heard of these 2 biggest ones before in my life. Typically at the dollar store, I see a lot of LA Colors and Sally Hansen. LA Colors was fairly big, but I think only because of those weird sparkle polishes I got. Generally speaking, whenever I walk into a store, I mostly see LA Colors, or there's one that is not LA Colors, but the bottle looks the exact same, and I normally see those 2. But LA Colors only made up 16%. Color Vibe at 33, Candy Moyo, I think that's how it's pronounced, at 28. Candy Moyo was another one where it had a lot of different shapes of bottles, despite all being technically the same brand. Like these 2 bottles look the exact same, but they're technically 2 different brands. This one's Candy Moyo. This one's one I've never heard of called New Color. I only found, I think, this one and maybe one other of that one. The square ones are also Candy Moyo. And then we have this different square bottle that is Candy Moyo. I kept saying how it was weird that the final polish was kind of shimmery since there were hardly any shimmers. There were 23% shimmers, which is not nothing, but compared to the 68, pretty much 69% of cremes, it was still very, very weird. All of these other percentages are so small, it's not even going to show you what they are, except for the one random glow-in-the-dark polish. I haven't tested if this polish is glow-in-the-dark. I should. I'll get back to you on that later. We did have like 1 or 2 toppers, which are making up those teeny tiny percentages that it's not showing. We have things like the toppers, we have 1 like hollow glitter, some shimmers, and 1 metallic. So all in all, this fact that one of the toppers shows through pretty well and it is a shimmery polish is a little bit weird to me. Although I guess if you add any amount of shimmer to a creme, it's gonna show up. Now we're on to our color variation, which I know you can't see my nail polish racks in this take, but how they were before versus how they are after I put all of my brand new polishes up here, you can definitely tell which color had the most because I had to completely rearrange some of these racks. Pink had the most with 30%. There is a pretty even disbursement after that. Oddly enough, blue was pretty high up there, and then purple was very close after that. So between pink and purple and blue, it's gonna turn purple. When you have 2 colors that make purple plus a lot of purple, it's gonna look kind of purple. Surprisingly, not that many reds, because normally whenever I go to a store to look for nail polish, all I see are reds and pinks, but today there were only pinks. There was also surprisingly only 1 black. Black is like a staple. Everyone loves black polish. I don't know why I only found 1, and it was to the second store I went to, so it would have been not included at all if I had only gone to the 1 store. Both my yellow polishes I also only found at the second store. I am a little bit curious about how much it would have changed the end result if I hadn't gone to that second store. I wouldn't have gotten black, I wouldn't have gotten another dark blue, I wouldn't have gotten either of the yellows. I don't know how much that difference that would have made since they're such a small percentage, but it would have been interesting to see and compare. As for accidental duplicates, I did end up accidentally picking up about 6 extra polishes. I gave them away to a friend already, but when I was recording this clip saying there are so many fucking pink polishes, I'm starting to not remember which ones I I've already picked up, especially since there's so many different brands and shapes and bottles. That's what I meant. So I did in fact end up picking up some duplicates. Now, as for costs, I did pick up some snacks here and there, and I also picked up the bottle, so I'm gonna do my best to take those out of our total. The other thing is the dollar store is no longer the dollar store, it's now the $1.25 store, which is frustrating, but life. Oh, one of my polishes was on discount for 1 cent, and it was this fucker. This ugly ass, hard, like nasty bitch. Yeah, this fucker. It was on sale for 1 cent, which is exactly how much money I deserve to pay for it. Taking out all my little snacks and stuff, that brings our total to $98.76. So under $100 for 74 polishes. I also ended up using the majority of my swatch sticks, so I am gonna have to get more of those. But what are my thoughts on this experiment? Dollar store polish sucks. There were a surprising number where I very clearly got either ones they forgot to destock, ones they forgot to throw away, the very last one, like that ugly ass green color. I did manage to thin it out enough to do swatches and shit with it. We have that ugly ass topper that was very obviously not having a good time. There's a reason they only cost $1.25. They're not like great quality products. A lot of them didn't have names. Like a lot of them I labeled like this on the top because the polish itself doesn't have a shade name. I don't understand why they do that. I have some specialized collections where the polishes themselves don't have shade names, and I don't understand why people do that. Like, you can think of the most boring basic name you want and just stick it on a polish. Color Vibe named 2 polishes Whiteout. They're probably the exact same polish in different packaging, but they were sold next to each other on the shelf. Like, it's not that difficult to come up with shade names. What really got me is that weird, like, very sheer polish named See-Through, and it was very see-through. I still don't know what was up with that polish, but this was a fun little experiment. I had a ton of the bottles. I think I had 10 total. Again, I gave away a lot of them to one of my friends. I think I have 4 left. I'm not a famous YouTuber. Nobody's gonna want these besides me and my friends. So I definitely want to do more like polish mixing experiments in the future. It is a little bit of a pricey endeavor, so I probably won't be doing it anytime soon or with anything more expensive than dollar store polishes. And I would do it with like all of my current polishes, but I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to do when you're constantly growing your collection. If I ever get to a place of stagnation, maybe. But as of right now, I'm adding to this like very frequently, so if I did that video within a week, it would be outdated. I forgot where I was going with this outro. The microwave keeps beeping and that's annoying me a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I haven't put it on my nails yet because this is the manicure from the Sally Hansen collection that video hasn't come out yet because I'm still waiting for the last one to show up. And because I did this in a Denny's, I didn't put a base coat or a top coat on it, and I know it's gonna be a pain in the ass to get off, so I've been procrastinating on that part. It's a very dollar store polish, I'll say that. The color is not the worst I've ever seen. The shimmer quality is not amazing. It is weird to get a random blue glitter in there every now and then, but it's very like, okay, not bad, which is how a lot of the dollar store polishes are. I will say it applies nicer than a lot of the other polishes, but that might just be because it's so thick with so many of the old crusty polishes. But that's gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna go finish waking up, eat my sandwich for breakfast, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.